Okay, got the fire going. She's going hot now. Holy. That's my stove inside my tent. You can really get them going pretty good. But this photo here is my tent. I designed this many years ago. I came up with this design because one time while camping up there, a wind had collapsed the tent right on top of me. And the modern day tents are not designed for high winds like this, sustained winds. And so I came up with this design. And you can see the snow stacked on side of the walls and stuff. That's to keep the tent warm against high winds and cold weather. It does help quite a bit. But these tents don't have a floor, and there's a reason for it. Most of your tents have floors, and what happens is when you have these high winds going over the top of your tent, it creates a vacuum. And that's why they have to tie the tents down, because the vacuum will lift them up. This tent here doesn't have a floor, and so the vacuum gets equalized through the floor, through the seams of the door and the floor, and so it's not necessary to tie it down. And plus, you can set this tent up by yourself in 50-mile-an-hour winds, and that is unheard of with modern day tents. You try to set up a modern day tent in 50-mile-an-hour winds, you're basically hanging onto a parachute and you end up in Siberia. But this is the tent I live in while I'm in the Arctic. And if you count up all the days and months I've lived in the Arctic in a tent like this, it adds up to many, many years. So my home has been inside a 7x9 canvas tent for many years. So I've grown accustomed to small places and quiet places. But in this series, we're going to go through the steps of putting one of these tents up. It's very simple, surprisingly simple. You will be surprised. But it has to be simple. Everything you do in the Arctic or in the wilderness has to be simple. You cannot have anything complicated. Otherwise, you're just going to get yourself in a lot of trouble. So let's begin. Around, I'll show you the tent that I'm putting up. It's a pretty easy tent. I designed it basically for the Arctic because it's really stout in the wind. I mean, I've been at hurricane 85-mile-an-hour winds with it, and it's no problem whatsoever. So this is a process. I showed you earlier the beginning process as well. Look for the deepest snow possible, and you dig down to it. Everything has to be on snowshoes. Can't get off your snowshoes, otherwise you're up to your waist in snow. But here's the snow depth. Right over there. Sinks right down. And you can see that the snow's not packed. This falls right down. And that's basically, what the dogs do when we break trail. They're swimming, basically. So this is it. This is the mountains of the Arctic. Pretty normal conditions. Heavy snow this year, though. Heaviest I've ever seen it, but still, there's always a lot of snow here. I've decided to speed the film up here a little bit, keep it from getting bored, but what I'm doing is digging down into the tent. The tent only is about 38 inches tall, so you have to dig down so you can stand up in a portion of the tent. And this is one of the big secrets of this tent. That hole you dig like that, that's called what I call a cold hole. That's where all the cold air goes when you're inside of it, and the cold air is heavier than the warm air. Then it goes down that hole, then of course seeps out from beneath the door. That's the beginning, and so you have to have some shoveling skills. Okay, here's the framework. Basically, you crawl down into your tent and you have your sleeping platform right there. Where it's smoothed out, that's a sleeping platform. You step down into it, you have your stove right there. Very simple tent. The dogs are all sacked out. And the snow here is probably about, oh, I'd say 4 feet deep right here where we're at. Pretty much consistent all the way across, about 3 feet deep. Most areas, maybe up on the hills, it's about 2.5 feet. You can see the trench they made coming in. It's a lot of work for them. Yeah, this is it. Here's the dogs. Sacking out. Okay. Stepping into the tent. Stand up. Got the ridge pole you can hang your clothes on. That's a sleeping platform. You see ptarmigan tracks. Pretty desolate this year because the snow's so deep. And here we have a lake. I used to catch a lot of lake trout in that lake. I named it Hero Lake, named after one of my dogs about 20 years ago. Well, this is it. This is my home for 3 months out of the year. Okay, I'm going to bring you inside the tent. As you see, I have it up. I don't like talking real loud because it stresses the dogs out. I don't talk much, so they're not used to it. So I'll try to talk quietly to narrate this. But just walk down into the tent. And this is where you stand. And that's the sleeping platform. And then the stove jack. Stove pipe goes out there. And the stove goes right there. And that's it. It's simple. You can put these tents up in 50-mile-an-hour winds. I've done it several times, which is a pretty strong wind. You can barely stand up. And that's why I designed them for, to set them up in high winds. But it's nice to be able to step down into it like this. And the beauty of it all is my sled is right there. I don't even have to, I can just reach in and grab the stuff out of my sled and all good to go. And you can see the dogs are sleeping right now. They're not used to me talking, so it stresses them out, but they're doing all right. Just talking quiet, so. I've never been able to set a tent up on the tundra because there's never enough snow. I mean, this is unbelievable. I'm just right on the tundra. Or on a flat tundra. And I can set the tent up without a problem. Plenty of space to dig down. This is a really unbelievable year with snow. Okay, I got the fire going. She's going hot now. Holy. I'll set that on there like that, but that's the deal here. And you got my pad there to sleep on. Let that burn a little bit. Put some coffee on. I'll be all set.